and welcome to another soulful conversation. I am just in love with every single panel that we have because it doesn't matter what kind of business you have, it doesn't matter what kind of job you do, it doesn't matter who you are. We all have access to our intuition. And in this panel, the reason why I bring these beautiful people together is to show you how we all have access to it. And it's a decision, it's a choice that we make to either go with our intuition and have maybe a little bit of an easier life, or go against it and maybe have a harder life. That's what happened to me anyways. And I can't wait to present you the speakers that we have today on the panel, and they're going to present themselves because they will do it way better than me. And we're going to do a little round of everybody before we go into the questions. So we're going to start with you, Rebecca. Tell us who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so I'm Rebecca Thomas, more than a life coach. Fun fact before we get into all that, I actually got into life coaching by being an Airbnb host and having people come stay in my house. So that's a super fun part about how I got into life coaching. I actually work with 30 to 50 something women, mainly professional women, and I do that for a couple of reasons. 30 to 50 something because I want to help women take their midlife crisis and turn it into midlife magic. But then I also want to help bring more emotional intelligence into professional landscapes.
Beautiful. I love it. All right. Debi, how about you?
Hey, so it's lovely to be here. Thank you for inviting me, Dominique, and it's lovely to meet everybody. I am a spiritual coach and mentor specializing in Reiki healing and also soulful business mentorship. I specialize in the energetics of getting people really to step out of the norm and allow themselves to really remember who they are and come back into their driving seat of their life. Because for many years, I felt I had no control. I felt that I was a slave to the grind and that I had to do things the way that everyone else told me to do. So when I see people, I work with people from all walks of life, but again, it does tend to be in that sort of 30 to 50 something bracket where people really start to get that itch to follow the calling of their soul. And what I love to do is help and support them to build their confidence so that they can really step into the driving seat of their life and feel really fully empowered to do that their way. So that's me in a nutshell.
That's nice. I love it. Ashley, how about you?
Hello, I'm Ashley Holmes, and I'm a holistic fertility coach. And I really birthed my business from my own fertility journey and to support other women who are struggling to conceive, to create a fertile foundation within and offer what the traditional medical world does not. And that is aligning mind, body, and spirit so that they can fully nourish themselves from the inside out.
Beautiful. Thank you. If you look on this corner here, everybody has their handle. So Shadi is not because she doesn't want to, but in life, like in business, things happen and things happen. But don't worry, if you want to connect with Shadi, you will get her handles in the show notes below. So Shadi, now it's your turn to present yourself.
Thanks for that, Dominique. Yeah, everything's reversed on my screen for some reason. Hi, everyone. My name is Shadi Sadeghi, and I am a Jungian life coach and an emotion code practitioner, trained and certified in both modalities. And I help men and women who are ambitious, high achievers, feeling burnt out all over the world. I fully remote. I help them to get unstuck and to help them transition with ease and grace through the next chapter of their lives from a soul perspective, connecting more with their soul and becoming their true selves.
That's very nice. And we're going to keep on going with you actually now that you're already there.
Great.
I was reading that your intuition is your North Star. And basically you like to mix, like all of us, you like to mix the soul and the spirit. And we're going to go towards that because when we start a soul-led business, often there's unique challenges. So if you are able to right away follow your North Star, you're probably going to be more aligned than the ones that are trying to go against the North Star. So can you share some of the obstacles you faced in the beginning and how you managed to stay true to your spiritual path while building your business?
Sure. So I was in the corporate world for over 20 years. And I felt like I was having repeat patterns in my life, repetitive patterns with the type of experiences I was having. Even if I would change jobs, I was having repeat experiences. Even with relationships, I was having repeat experiences. So I started to see a life coach, a Jungian life coach. And that opened my eyes to the essence and truth of who I am. And complete mindset and perspective shift. I started to live differently. I started to show up differently. And it was primarily because I uncovered my conditioning. Now, the beauty of entrepreneurship is that it amplifies and brings out our biggest fears, our biggest insecurities, like many other things in life, right? And it was because of the foundation of Jungian understanding and coaching that I had received that I knew that these insecurities are inevitable. When you are taking new action, whatever it may be, whether it's in a relationship, whether it's in business or career, or even finances, you are going to encounter resistance of some sort, and that is your ego. So I was more familiar with the mind. I understood what was happening. So every time I'd freak out, I would connect to my soul. I would connect to my higher self and remember, why am I doing this? And so that's the struggles that I had were what everyone has: imposter syndrome, insecurities, doubt. Am I doing the right thing? Is this what I want to do? Because it's hard, because your identity is completely shattered and shaken. You know, I was no longer corporate, but I was still coming into entrepreneurship with that corporate mentality. So it was very, it was not aligned at all. And it shows you where you are not aligned, essentially. And it was just showing me my mind, and I got to work with that. And I had a coach through the process as well.
Yeah, I think that in the beginning, finding a coach is probably, for me, it was my lifesaver. I mean, I've been in business for 30 years, and every single business that I've had, every single time I would go from one to another, I get a coach. Like, who am I aligning to right now, and get a coach? Yeah, thank you for sharing. Rebecca, we're going to go to you now. Same
Okay.
question.
So yeah, some of the things in the beginning, it was a little different for me. So I've actually never worked in the corporate space, and that's one of my superpowers. Just gives me a different lens, a different perspective. I didn't have to mold into some of those ideas. And I actually just really recently read a book called The New Happy that talks about how so many businesses in America, like our definition of success and happiness, really relies on our three American core values in professional landscapes, which is domination, capitalism, and individualism, which is just, I see it all the time, and also never really had to submit to that. But still, some of the biggest hurdles were, like, I'd never had to network before. So figuring out who to connect with, why to connect with them. I've always been incredibly stubborn. And even when I couldn't give language to who I was, I still inherently felt and trusted who I was. So being able to lean into that while I was discovering what this actually looked like. And I had two business plans when I actually went into business for myself, and I was trying to figure out which one to start with. Very serendipitously ended up connecting with a business coach who probably saved me 5 years worth of problems, because she really helped me understand, unplugging from that hustle and forcing mentality and being able to really create a life and a structure of a business that would honor me showing up as my best self, so I could show up better for the people that I was working with, but then also still give me the quality of life that I wanted to from the beginning, instead of having to go and do and get on the other side and not only normalize that hustle approach, but then having to uncondition myself from all of it. So those are definitely a couple of the things that I had to work through in the beginning.
And I want to touch on something that you said. You went to see a coach. You went to see a coach that aligned with you. If you're listening today, you go on social media, and this is one of my pet peeves. So I'm going to go on a rant for a second here. Bear with me. You see all these things that say make $10,000 in 4 months. It might work for them, and it might not work for you. Their ways are not your ways. Find a coach, a mentor, a guide that will help you find your way, that is aligned with the whole of who you are and not with the whole of who they are. We're not reinventing the wheel here. Everybody on this call is coach for something. right? And everybody here wants to help you, but we're going to help you to help yourself, not to help you to help myself. So thank you for talking about the coaches. Debi, how about you?
I had so many obstacles right from leaving the corporate world, then still working full time while trying to build a business alongside it. So basically, what happened with me was I was happily, well, not happily, but I was working in corporate in a legal IT role, for IT role for a law firm in Northern Ireland. And I thought I was happy. I thought I was doing the thing. I thought everything was okay, But then when I really looked at my life, I was screaming on the inside. I was medicated on antidepressants. I was trying, was burning the candle at both ends, trying to do this stressful job and raise a young family. And then I was made redundant, and that was a real shock. That real sort of, who am I now? Who, oh, what am I going to do? And my husband at the time said to me, what are you going to do about it? When I told him I had been made redundant. So all of a sudden, my whole life kind of shattered, because I realized that actually a lot of the cracks that I was masking with, medication and things like that were because maybe my relationship wasn't solid, because there were so many things broken in my life that I was going through. So my business kind of started as a reaction to, I don't want an employer to pull the rug out from under me again. I don't want to be in that powerless position. So a lot of the obstacles I faced at the time were trying to juggle that I still needed to work in order to pay the mortgage, in order to feed the children, but I wanted to do something completely different. So I had this tug of wanting to follow my soul, but being a slave still to the grind. So I had to really lean in to my Reiki healing. I had to lean in. I discovered Reiki. I discovered crystal healing. I sort of started to find the things that made me who I was. And that came with its own set of awakenings, because I started to really remember who I was and what I wanted. And it turned out that, the marriage ended up having to go, the job ended up having to go, everything switched and changed. So the obstacles for me were really that juggling act of, trying to run a business, maybe using my living room, because I didn't have a space, I didn't have somewhere to go. So could the kids be quiet while I did this Reiki session? Is it okay? Could you be quiet? And it was trying to sort of juggling my energy, maybe working Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, seeing clients in the evenings and the weekends, trying to replace my salary, because I didn't have a coach at the start. I didn't have the financial ability at the start. So a lot of the obstacles for me were financial and were time constraints and energy constraints. Plus I was doing the healing at the same time. So I was growing and learning. And that's why I'm so passionate now about helping people in that same sort of situation, because there's so many ways we can lean into the tools, the healing and the meditation work and the breath work and the energy work in order to help us get through that. But it takes a little bit of courage and conviction to actually, turn your life upside down, which is essentially what I did. So yeah, lots of obstacles and lots of ways that I had to stay true to me, because it was what I needed to do for my own mental health and my own well-being. I had to follow the calling of my soul, because I wasn't being honest with myself. So yeah, big learning curve, but definitely worth doing.
Yeah, that's amazing. And if you're listening today and you're starting your business, if you don't have the money, the financial means to get a coach, a mentor, or a guide, there are other ways. And you just heard Debi talk about that today. Ashley, how about you?
I really knew nothing about entrepreneurial life or anything until the pandemic hit. And it was really my invitation to serve and to help women in a deeper, more purposeful way, because I went from just teaching yoga and meditation in person to really diving deep. And it was really just a founding moment of looking at my son and being like, if I hadn't done this inner work, like, you wouldn't be the living, breathing proof every day that anything is possible, and that truly we can call in what we want when we want it. And definitely infertility was not something that I discussed when I was going through it. So it was not only birthing a business for the first time, but also using my throat chakra and my voice to express the struggles and the silence and the isolation that often go hand in hand with it, and knowing that 1 in 6 women are struggling and that there is not enough support out there, and that truly we can, it became not about me, but just knowing that people can use this and it is going to positively impact their lives and isn't going to leave them drained and depleted or in a worse state sometimes than using a clinic can. So just following that intuition, it was truly just an inner calling of, you need to do this. And it's like, but I don't know how. And it's just like, you figure it out, and it's just one step in front of the other. And, I was just keep showing up, keep doing this, keep putting this out there because people need this. And just having that trust in myself and my soul calling to follow my purpose and my passion.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I was reading on your bio that one of your, I'm going to call it a mantra, is heal from within. And as we start as business owners, whether it's your first time or you're growing your business or you're like rebuilding, always the same thing. Self-doubt creeps in like there's no tomorrow. And we have to deal with it. And it's better to deal with it in a holistic way. So Ashley, we're going to keep on going with you. How did you overcome these feelings, if you had them? And what techniques or practices helped you maintain your confidence and resilience?
Definitely, I leaned into my strengths, and it was, not following what the gurus say or the way to do business or the way to run business. It really was just, following my way and doing what's works and stays true to me. And so I have daily routines, rituals, practices that I do to keep my health and wellness sort of intact. And, it's like every day get on my mat, and it doesn't matter for how long or what poses, but knowing that I can give that to myself, refuel myself, and take that time to intentionally start my day with a meditation so I have that energy and frequency and vibration to carry throughout the day instead of being dragged out of bed by the call of mom, which is what I used to do and feel like I was behind and one foot after the other. And so just a different approach, a different way of living, and taking that holistic sort of living and lifestyle into all areas of my life, as a mom, as a coach, as a wife, and just seeing the positive ripple effect that it has for everybody, right? And not forcing it upon anybody, but this is available to you and you can tap into this, and we can all tap into this anytime that we choose to. And really having my eyes open wide and knowing that what was seen couldn't be unseen, and it changed who I was. And I'm grateful for that. And every day it was like, no, keep doing this, your life is better for it.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Showing up is definitely one thing, right? And I like when you say seeing the unseen. That's very nice. Shadi, we're going to go with you now.
Sure. So my approach is a bit different. It's counterintuitive a little bit. And it's this is the part of making the unconscious conscious. So it's expanding awareness. When we feel like we just can't take a step forward, because I've been there too, where I just was frozen, or there were certain tasks I needed to do, or I needed to show up and promote myself. Instead of powering through or pushing through, obviously connecting, pulling the tools that we have in our spiritual toolbox, if it is connecting with ourselves, those are essential. But I actually talk with the feeling. So if there's fatigue, if there is paralyzing fear, I talk with it and I ask it what it's defending. So that's something I take my clients through, because our instinct is to push away negative feelings, negative emotions, to ignore them, to just, okay, I'm just going to power through, or I'm just going to take a few deep breaths. And those are amazing. The meditation is also part of the process too, meditating, because you're connecting with something that's bigger than you. You're connecting with your purpose, with your soul. But your ego is freaking out. and your ego is valid. So you don't want to just reject it and say, oh God, this is just my fear. I just need to, you want to actually sit with it and ask it what it needs from you and then take action. And it's incredible because when you do, you watch that fear just shrink. And it may take a few minutes, may take a couple hours. It may be like, I want to go play. And so sometimes you got to put aside your to-do list. I mean, assuming, you don't have a jam-packed schedule, and just go outside, go for a walk, go for a breather, go to a playground. I've told grown-ass clients to do this before, and it shifts everything. And that part of you is seen and heard, and then is on board and is like, okay, cool. Now we can move forward. So that's what I do.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I always say to my clients, make your ego your friend, right?
Yeah.
Because it's still there. We're not getting rid of it.
You need it. You need it.
Exactly.
Yeah. You just don't want it in the driver's seat. You just want her in the passenger seat and you're
Indeed.
soul driving. Yeah.
Indeed. I love that. Rebecca, how about you?
Yeah, as far as overcoming them, techniques, practices, when you talk about confidence in particular. So one of the things that I find for myself, and it took me a long time to really implement this, practice it once it was even on my radar, which looking back was really not that long ago. But how I talk to myself. So back in the day, I was a mean girl. I didn't have good friends. Like I had close friends, but I didn't have good friends. And part of that was a representation of who I was at the time. And so the inner dialogue was just very berating to me. And once I started to realize how much of a problem that was, it was really paying attention to that. Just like Shadi was saying, how I talk to myself, befriending the ego. What do you need right now? But then also setting boundaries that honored my integrity and doing that, because when I did that, I didn't feel like I was at the mercy of everything else, including myself. I still had ownership and agency to make it what I wanted to be, and then holding myself accountable for that. And then with that, that really curated the self-trust in me, which allowed me to be confident because I wasn't at the mercy of anything. So just really paying attention to all those pieces. And then another thing that I actually do now, back when I was a mean girl, like I said, I didn't have a lot of good friends. I had some close friends, but that shifted over the years, and I've curated this amazing circle of support, and that's friends, family, connections. And so whenever that dialogue comes up, if it's something I find myself tail spinning in and don't feel like I can stop it, which ultimately, yes, I can, but sometimes you need that extra support, I automatically reach out to my friends and tell them what I'm feeling. Tell them that I know better, but I just need the reassurance and the support in that moment, and then allow them to pour into me, because that's what we do for each other. So that's another big piece of what I do too.
Yeah, that's beautiful. We do need other people. We are not meant to do this by ourselves, even if we believe it, truly, truly believe it. This is the speed tip from Rebecca. Get your people. Debbie, how about you?
I totally agree with the get your people, because it can be so lonely when you start out first of all on your own, and maybe your friends or family don't understand what you're doing, and why are you doing this soulful work? Go and get a proper job, all this sort of stuff that happens. People hear this all the time. And I think that feeds into your self-doubt, and you start to wonder, well, oh, maybe I should just go and do the thing. Maybe I should just go back to work. And for me, it was when I had those feelings, I became self-aware enough with the practices that I was doing to sit with it, to, you know, as Shadi said, to sit and talk to the emotion, where it's coming from. What is this? But one of the best ways to get around it, I found, was to remember to celebrate all the little wins, so that when you're having those really bad days, those days where you're like, I can't do this, everything's awful, I am no good, all those awful things we say to ourselves, because we're human, and it doesn't matter how long you do this, you will still have those days, because that's what happens. But when you have I have a little folder. It's like my feel good folder, where I go to, and it's like all the nice things people have said, all the little testimonials, all the little wins. Nowadays, it's like the little screenshots of nice comments, things people have said, everything that has that makes me feel good, and maybe a record of everything I've achieved, the things that I've done that help me feel good about myself and remind me that this feeling of self-doubt is temporary. It's not there, reconnecting into your why you're doing it in the first place. Remembering what has put you on this path and tuning back into that love and that soulfulness deep inside that you have access to all the time. Once you remember that you can just breathe into it and allow yourself, but you have to honor the fear, you have to honor the doubt and let it be heard. Otherwise it becomes this big thing, so it's about really accepting that. And definitely, as you've all said, about getting the people around you. And it may be initially that, yeah, maybe you can't afford to step into communities when you're first starting and everything's kind of tight, but you can move into free spaces, into groups, into, you can take part in things like this. You can do all these different things where you're surrounding yourself and putting yourself full in front of inspirational people that help inspire you and keep you remembering why you're doing what you're doing. And that then really helps you to connect, and you start to surround yourself, sharing your dream with the people who will support you as well, and choosing to be very discerning in who you share your dreams with, so that people don't rip the power away from you and take, pull that face and go that you don't want to see, So those were just some of the things that helped me.
Yeah, that's very nice. Thank you very much for sharing. And we're going to keep with you right now, because now we spoke about, maybe if you can, being supported when you start your business. We spoke about having the right people around you. But starting a business, growing a business, or rebranding a business, you need clarity. You need to be so clear that when the people come, they have no doubts in what you're doing. And I would like to ask you, ladies, how did you manage to find and sustain a sense of clarity and purpose in your business journey, especially during the first few years, or if like a rebrand or anything like that? But the clarity, let's go deep into, how did you maintain that?
For me, Dominique, it was really about allowing myself to dream about what it is I wanted first and foremost, so that I had a real attachment to, like, had a golden thread that I could kind of follow and go, this is where I kind of want to go. Now that vision, a lot of people sometimes tie themselves up in knots with that, because they go, what if I tie the thread to the wrong end goal? What if I take all the wrong steps? And it's like, your vision may shift and change as you grow and evolve, and that's okay. But having that clear vision of, well, what is it I want? So initially, if you find that hard, what I did at the very start, because I always found it quite difficult to really say what I wanted because of conditioning and beliefs and growth patterns, it was, very difficult to say, I want this, and it's okay to want this and have this clarity. So what I did was I flipped it and I said, well, I don't want this. I don't want to work for someone else. I don't want to be a slave to the grind. I don't want to trade my time for money. I don't want this. And I made a list of what I didn't want. And that really helped me then get really crystal clear on, well, what is it I do want? Who are the type of people I want to work with? And I think this is really important for people just starting out. You have the choice. You have the choice of, who do you want to work with? What is it you want your business to look like? In an ideal world, what does it look like? Who are you serving? How are you serving them? And when you can start to really get that idea down, even getting it out of your head and onto paper, creating maybe a vision board, maybe creating some sort of, an image speaks 1,000 words. So if you can get that idea out of your head and onto a piece of paper, I use vision boards all the time. I use them for my personal life. On New Year's Eve, every New Year's Eve, I sit with my partner and we create a vision board for the coming year, so that we have our individual goals and our joint family goals as to what we're going to do for the year ahead. And having that, then it allows you to keep circling back to it and going, right, okay, as I take steps forward in my business, am I still connecting to the vision? Does this move the needle in my business, or does it pull me away? Is this just shiny object syndrome because I want this thing because someone else is doing it, some coach says this is the way to do it? Or, like you said at the start, is it in actual alignment with what's in here? And again, really tapping into that vision inside, tapping into your soul's voice and listening to what your body says, listening to what your emotions are saying. For me, that was how I really connected. And sometimes you get it wrong, and that's okay. It's about giving yourself the grace of compassion. It's okay. And if you have a coach or a mentor or you're in a group, then it makes it so much easier as well, because you can bounce those ideas, because you can't see your blind spots, but they often can. And that's what really helps. So for me, that's how I did it.
Beautiful. I love it. Rebecca, we're going to go to you again.
So funny that that's how Debbie wrapped it up, because I would say for me, the biggest thing was giving myself permission to do it wrong, not take it so seriously. Like I really had no idea what it was going to look like. You never really do. I mean, you can think you do, but you never really do. And so from the get-go, I just really gave myself that permission to get it wrong. And even in saying that, like it wasn't really wrong. It was just a discovery process. It was me being an amateur at something. It was me learning who I was and how I navigated things and what worked for me. And I definitely would audit people and ask their opinions, but always keeping in mind, like, who am I and how does that hit me? Like when they share what they have to say, that's not what I quote unquote should do, but they're sharing their wisdom, their opinions, that comes through their own biases. And I still have to filter that through my own lens to optimally align with the thing that's going to work the best for me. So it was just really doing a lot of that, giving myself the permission to get it wrong, giving myself the permission to not take everything that they said to heart, taking it all with a grain of salt and making sure that I still looked at it through my own lens.
Yeah, looking at it through your own lens. This is so important. When you're starting, you'll have people that are going to make that face. Really? You want to do that? You know, I'm like you, Rebecca. I've never worked for anybody else. So I didn't have the corporate mindset. I feel that I was very lucky. But I still always had people saying, well, you're going to leave your business again? You're going to do that again, rebrand again, redo. Yes, I'm not aligned anymore. We don't understand you. It's all okay. Everything is good. Yeah, thank you for sharing this. Ashley, how about you?
I feel like whenever I lacked clarity or not knowing the next step, it was always so important to not just keep doing, but to give myself some time and space and grace to be and to sit with things and to not move by anybody else's timelines, but by my own timeline and really following, what success and what that looks like for me, because it's not defined externally by wherever you live in the world. As a mom of three and a household and a business, I designed my business to work with my lifestyle that I wanted to create and not the other way around, and not having to fit into other people's ideals of what success or your business should look like. And I feel like it's important to take the time to find clarity on how you want this to look and feel. And in the beginning, I was like, no, I need to get up at 5 o'clock every day and I need to be working every minute that I'm not with the kids. And was like, this is not sustainable and this is not going to work for me. And that lasted for a short time of, wait a minute, this is totally not in alignment. It's not in balance. And why am I outsourcing, what I know is going to work and be true to what I need and how I want to build my life and my business.
This is so interesting that you're saying that, because the 5 a.m. Club, you guys read that book? My God, I thought that was genius. I was like, yeah, I'm going to wake up and I'm going to train, and I'm not a morning person. I don't think I've ever in my life trained in the morning. And I used to do triathlon, and everybody's like, you're crazy. You're going to go run at 12 during a day living on an island in the Caribbean? Yes, this is who I am. And if you're listening today, you are hearing it. Be yourself and do what feels right for you. This is what's going to work. And we're going to go with you, Shadi.
That's beautiful. I love hearing everyone's answers, because it really is all about a dance between the head and heart. And it's like a balancing act between, logic and soul. And that is who we are. We are both. We're not just one or the other. And they're both guiding us. So there are times when our head is like, I have no idea what to do next. So that is the moment you want to meditate, go inward, connect with your soul, ask your soul, what do you want to do next? What is right for your business? What do you see? Where do you see us going? Because we have a higher self in us that has already become the successful entrepreneur. She exists or he exists on some, timeline already. That version of you is already there. It's just a matter of taking the action to step into her or him. And there are times as well when your heart is like, I don't want to do this. And so your head is saying, no, well, we need to, there are certain things we need to do. And the clarity comes with action. We don't always have clarity. Clarity comes with action or making mistakes or trial and error and learning more about yourself and learning more about what works for you, what doesn't work for you. Where do you feel lit up? Is it in public speaking, for example? Is it in one-on-one situations, or whatever product or service that you are offering to the world? You learn through action.
Yeah, definitely. And your clarity, whatever your clarity is right now, will get defined through those actions. So no stress, just one foot in front of the other. Thank you so much for playing the game of answering the questions. And there was so many golden nuggets in there. Ashley, you said, stay true to me. And so for you, if you're listening, is really stay true to yourself. And Debi, don't be a slave to the grind. Explore you. Explore what works for you. Shadi, one of your tips is talk with the feeling. Balance your head and your soul. And Rebecca, give yourself permission to get it wrong. It's all okay anyway. You're going to get it right after. All is good. And what I would like to do right now is I would like to go a little bit deeper on what it is that you do. And we're going to start with Rebecca. What techniques do you use to help women break through obstacles and reclaim their power?
Yeah, there's definitely a few key ones that I use. As I mentioned, Airbnb is what actually got me into life coaching. A lot of times when I say that, people have this real jerk reaction like, wait, what? Airbnb got you into life coaching. But because I was hosting people in my home, in a bedroom in my home, it wasn't a separate space. And so all of the main living spaces were shared, the deck was shared, the yard was shared. And it's a very welcoming, relaxing space. And so when they came in, if they wanted to connect, we could. And so there were many, many times that I found myself on the deck or in the kitchen, just chatting sometimes for hours with these complete random strangers. And we're talking all walks of life, all types of experiences, cultures, races, ages, religions, like all different kinds of things. And it was in doing that that I realized my superpower, one of them is holding space for people. And so when you can hold space for someone and not be somebody that they have to worry about making feel comfortable because of what they're saying or how they're acting or how they show up, and also give them the space to be able to express how they truly feel, a lot of times that's such a catalyst for everything on the other side, because we're so busy worrying about what everybody else thinks and how it's going to come across and how they're going to react to it, that when we truly get in a space where you don't have to react to any of those things and you can just say the thing and you can let it be okay, that's where you truly connect with what you're feeling, what you're thinking, and can get some real clarity around what might be holding you up around it, or even just get a release from saying it. So that's definitely a huge piece of what I do. And then where I was talking about like the boundaries, the self-trust, the confidence before. So everything that I do is to help women, especially, be more authentic. And being authentic doesn't mean you have it all figured out. It just means you're being honest with who you are and honoring who you are in the moment. And so when I work with the women that I work with, going back to those boundaries, a lot of times we hear people talk about boundaries in the way of like, this is what separates me from you. This is the difference between me and you. This is where I end and you begin. But when we think about boundaries that keep ourselves in our integrity, it's centering from here instead of reacting to there. So we can when we can really build this awareness and start to pay attention to how things affect us, whether that's our sleep behaviors or what we drink, too much coffee, too much caffeine, or the people that we're interacting with, or what our capacity is, and how much we jam pack into our schedule and overcommit ourselves, whatever that looks like, when we can start to pay attention and build awareness around how those things affect us, and then decide whether that's actually working for us or not, and is it truly necessary, then you can start setting boundaries with yourself to honor your energy, honor your authenticity. And as you do that, again, you're going to a point of where you're not at the mercy of things, but you're actually being intentional and choosing how you show up in the world, which just builds that idea of I have a choice. I have a choice. Like, what happens to me, I get a choice, and I can lean into that and harness that. And then when you start to do that, I feel like that's where the confidence really builds, the grounded confidence, because you're not telling yourself you can't, you're not, giving your power away to other people or other situations, but that confidence really starts to soar. And the more confident you can be, the more authentically you can show up in the world.
Yeah, definitely. I love that. Thank you. Shadi, not how, can you discuss the transformative impact of the individuation process on your clients' lives?
Yes, I was thinking I can tell you a little bit, and I wanted to take people through a powerful visualization, if you guys are all open to it, to understanding what is holding them back unconsciously for
They
our
say,
listeners.
don't tell me, show me, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's a lot more efficient that way. So what I do, I do incorporate a lot of powerful visualizations and meditations to uncover what is unconsciously holding a person back, because our wisdom, as well as our obstacles are internal, and our wisdom is also internal. And so by uncovering the obstacle, we can figure out how to move forward. And when we do, it is like, this is when the manifestation magic happens. Things just align. We see synchronicities. So if everyone can just close their eyes for a quick second and take a few deep breaths, put both feet on the ground. And I want you to just let go of all tension. Take 3 really deep breaths, inhaling calm, clarity, peace, exhaling stress, tension, confusion. Take another deep breath in, feeling yourself relax more and more as your breath gets deeper and longer. Feel the rise and fall of your breath. And as you're taking another deep breath, I want you to think about a big goal that you have or you've been wanting to achieve and you've been struggling with. I want you to imagine that you're walking down a beautiful road, a beautiful path made of gold towards that goal. You see that goal ahead of you. There's something in the way. You can't quite put your finger on it. There's something hidden that keeps stopping you, that is interfering with this goal. And you're going to see a door appear in front of you. It's in the middle of the path. And I want you to open the door and you're going to step into another place. Look around. As you step in, I want you to know that there is an aspect of your unconscious, of your shadow, here in this place waiting for you. Just notice what this thing, this symbol or person is like that appears in front of you. This is your shadow aspect. What are the qualities that they have? Maybe good qualities, positive qualities that you admire, that you don't accept. Or they could be negative qualities, dark qualities that you don't accept. Just allow yourself to see this part of you that reveals itself. Notice if this person looks like you, if they present themselves as someone else. Tune into your body and notice how you feel about this person or aspect. How are they dressed? What judgments do you have about their attributes and characteristics? Notice what emotions arise within you. Notice how you feel around them. Just take those very first impressions and set the intention that even if you don't know how, you are becoming willing and open to engage with this part of yourself more, to make it more conscious, bring it to your awareness. And with that, it will bring you the energy that you need to reach that big goal that you want so badly. You can walk back through the door to that golden path, that beautiful path, looking ahead and having a little more information and wisdom from your unconscious mind as you continue the journey of integrating your shadow and individuating into your true self. Whenever you're ready, you can slowly come back and open your eyes.
Thank you. That was beautiful.
You're welcome. So that's a little bit of what I do. So we have the wisdom inside of us, but we just can't see it ourselves. And so I guide my clients towards that, and it helps in every aspect of life, whether it's career, whether it's love, whether it's business, whether they're transitioning, whether they're having a identity crisis, whatever it is. This helps to uncover what is holding them back so that they can step more into their true selves and become more fulfilled that way. That is fulfillment.
Mm. Yeah, that is fulfillment. I love it. You guys are just so awesome, everybody. I love everyone. Ashley, we're going to talk to you now. How do you support women trying to conceive through your customized programs, and what impact have you seen from your holistic approach?
Really love to create a safe, sacred space for women to allow themselves to be and feel seen and heard for all of those uncomfortable and often unacknowledged emotions that go hand in hand with infertility, like shame and guilt and fear, and oftentimes grief as well. And taking the time and space to heal their journey so far, and perhaps even before their journey began, so that they are in a place to welcome and receive new life, and to really take the time and intentionality to prioritize themselves, to focus on themselves, and to learn to sit with discomfort, to breathe into discomfort, whether that's in a yoga pose or in a meditation, and to begin to do that on their mat so they can do it off their mat, and so that they can learn to nourish themselves from the inside out, and to realize it's not just the food we eat that we consume that is nourishing to us, but all the other aspects of our life as well. And it is very eye-opening, it's life-changing, and everyone I have worked with, and I'm proud and honored to say, I have left them in a better state than when they started with me. And to see the change and transformation, it's very, very quick when you start to embody and practice these holistic, ancient practices that have been around forever, but perhaps we haven't been open to them or received them before. And it's a privilege and an honor.
Well, that's a good thing. You're here to remind us.
Yes.
We're going to go with Debi now. With your expertise in Reiki teaching and soulful business mentorship, how do you guide clients to remember who they are and ignite their passions?
Yeah, so Reiki is it's the foundation of the work that I do. It's one of the tools. There's many others, but it's one of the tools, and it tends to form the core. So I start with people with creating that safe space that we've all talked about, that beautiful safe environment where you have to feel safe enough to open up and do this work, because otherwise you will just, you'll hold yourself back. So it starts by really getting to know the person, really getting to know, sort of taking an honest look at where they are now, where they are now, where they want to be, and all the little grey parts in between, all the little shadows, all the things that they're not sure of, we look at where they want to be with that compassion, and we use the Reiki healing energy and the other tools like the crystals and the shamanism and the cards and all the other things to really start to dig deep into what it is that makes them tick, what it is makes their heart sing. You know, looking into what did they like to do when they were a kid? What did they want to be when they grew up? Who did they want to be? Who are their role models? And we start to unpick and start to unravel all the stories that they tell about themselves. And, you know, with those tools, we shine in, because sometimes what happens is once we start to talk about this stuff, then the fears come up and the worries come up and the self-sabotage comes up. And, you know, so it's about unpicking and unraveling and, you know, who are you without those stories, starting to really do an identity piece as to who you really are beneath all that. And with Reiki, it comes with embracing philosophy of Reiki, the principles just for today, stepping into that moment of, well, just for today. It's okay if I mess it up because it's just for today, right? Give myself permission to make it wrong. It's just for today. And then it takes that pressure off. We become mindful. We step into the moment. We're no longer 10 steps ahead of ourselves or worrying about what happened before. We're just for today. Just for today, do not be angry. It's not about suppressing the anger, but noticing where the anger highlights where your needs aren't being met, where things aren't in alignment with you. Just for today, don't worry. You know, it highlights those fears. What does worry you? What keeps you up at night? Where is that coming from? Let's look at that. Let's heal that. Just for today, be full of gratitude. That helps you step into that space of that higher vibration of being grateful and looking for that beautiful energy all around, looking for the blessings. Because if you look for things, you tend to find them. If you look for problems, that's what you find. If you look for the solutions, you tend to find a way. You know, just for today, I will do my work honestly, the work on myself. Am I in alignment with what I am doing? And that's often where people then realize, oh, maybe I do need to tweak and change. And they start to remember who they are as a result of this. And just for today, I'll be kind to all living things, myself included. So when you add, that's just one element of Reiki, that's just the principles. Then we have, you know, the breath work, the meditations, the mantras, the kotodamas, the chants, the hands-on healing, you know, the attunements and placements, all these things that kind of unpick all the conditioning. So essentially, I unpick and unravel all their stories. I help them nourish their mind, body, and soul. And then we invite that introspection and invite that intuitive development so that they can then start to step into maybe the quantum energetics of the nature of reality, and they start to understand that they create their own reality. And that helps them evolve as humans, and then they evolve as souls, and they start to remember who they really are, and they step into the driving seat of their life, but they do it their way, because my ethos is very much, here are the tools. I will hold the space for you. I will help you learn how to use them. I will hold your hand while you're using them. I will help you build the confidence, step into the communities, step into Soul Food Circle for your personal and spiritual development, step into Soulpreneur Space for your business development. Let's make this work for you. Let's surround you with people, your kindred spirits, but you do it your way. You be you, which I think is the overall theme of today. It's really much about you be you.
It is,
You
right?
be
You
yourself
be
with
you.
courage. Yeah, courage and conviction to be yourself. So
Yeah,
that's what I do.
that's beautiful. And just for today, I want to thank you guys for sharing and for taking the time to come here. But people don't have to watch it today. So if you're watching, it might not be today. So just for today, I want you guys to try to pick all the nuggets that everybody brought here. And in our lives, we're all busy. We all have a lot of things going on, programs, offers. And I would like the person that is listening right now that really liked what you said to know what they can go and get from you. How can they reach you? And we're going to start with Rebecca.
So you can reach me everywhere at Maria Venus, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, my website are all Maria Venus. There's a little story to that. My middle name's Marie, which is actually after my grandmother, but it was actually what someone I thought I was going to spend the rest of my life with used to call me. So it's Marie of Love is where all of that comes from. Just send me a message if you want to set up a consultation. I am taking yearly clients, so I'd love to work with you if you feel like you're just stuck, whether that's in midlife, whether that's personally, professionally. and all those pieces are unraveling and you want to figure out how to put them back together and live the life that you want with purpose on purpose. And so, yeah, you can find me all places Maria Venus.
Beautiful. And you have the handles in the corners, and we're going to go with you, Shadi. You can't see her handles, but they're going to be, everybody's handles are going to be down at the bottom and then show notes.
Yes, and I included them in the chat as well. You can find me on Instagram, my link tree. You can DM me anytime. I'm offering actually a deep dive, the shadow work session, complimentary to anyone who schedules a call with me to get insight into what's holding you back, what's keeping you stuck, what's keeping you unfulfilled, really, whether it's love or career or finances.
Beautiful. Yeah, the shadow work is intense and so needed. Let's get those conditioning away from our path.
Yes, unshackle ourselves.
Yeah. Ashley, how about you?
You can find me on all the social channels, either at my website, Holistic Fertility Coach, or any of the social media handles. And I also have a Holistic Fertility Coach Facebook group that if you're trying to conceive, you're welcome to join. I also offer my services on a health and wellness platform called Bibly, which is Vibly. So there is coaching, there's yoga classes, there are meditations, there's Reiki, really, because I value health and wellness and it is our wealth. So there is something for everyone, no matter what age or stage you are in.
Beautiful. Thank you. How about you, Debbie?
Yeah, you can find me anywhere. Rocksandrituals.co.uk is the website. You'll find various on the LinkedIn as Debi Barr. My Facebook is the Debi Barr. That's my personal profile, which is my main profile. However, I do have a Rocks and Rituals business page as well. You're more than welcome to check it out there, and on Instagram too. But essentially, I am here to help in whatever way you need. There are a multitude of free resources available to people who are just starting out, whether it's meditation and journaling resources free. I have a free Facebook group called the Rocks and Rituals Mind, Body and Spirit Wellness group that you can join just to be in the community with other people. And then if you want, you can step into Soul Food Circle, Soulpreneur Space. There's lots of Reiki training, both in person here in Northern Ireland, but also online. Holy Fire Reiki is the evolution of Usui Reiki, and it's available as an online class. And there's lots of workshops and things. All the details are on the website. So if you head over to rocksandrituals.co.uk, you can find everything you need there.
Beautiful. Thank you. And again, we're going to put all the handles and the links in the show notes below. I want to thank you, ladies, so much. I feel so, there's like no word today, but I'm really filled with everything that you guys shared. I just feel so aligned. And if you're listening today, thank you so much for taking the time to listen and to learn from people that have maybe walked the path before. Right? And again, we're going to see you in another 2 weeks.